I didn't know what to expect from a very English scandal. On the one hand, the casting is phenomenal, so I knew the performances would be good, and from what I'd seen from marketing material, visually it looked very appealing, costumes, set design, etc. looked really realistic, but the subject matter was something that I thought could have gone either way depending on how they treated it. But I actually thought it was very well balanced, and I can't say factually accurate because I didn't really know anything about this, and I will of course talk about what it's about in a moment. But if anybody can shed any light on anywhere where they thought it was maybe factually inaccurate or they took some creative liberties, please let me know. I'd love to expand my knowledge on that area. But as a piece of entertainment, I found it very, very good. Very, very, what feels like a very high production value. I assume that it did have a high production value. It's an Amazon Prime original, and this focuses on Jeremy Thorpe, who was the British Liberal Party leader, and initially he was being outed for being gay, which of course 1970s people weren't exactly taking kindly to that, least of all from their party leader. And then things escalate pretty quickly. This is not a spoiler, it's in the IMDb description. He then is accused of conspiracy to murder his former lover, who outed him because he felt he had been wrong done by. And this is obviously a whole mess, and is very, very quickly going to ruin somebody's career. This is based on truth, of course. I didn't know anything about any of this. The name Jeremy Thorpe I recognised, but I hadn't heard of this. So for me, this is my source of information for this this case, this moment in history, this minefield of lies and scandal. And I will say it's absolutely fantastic. The narrative, it's 3 parts. It's like 3 hours in length, and it's intense. I watched it over 2 sittings, and it is very involved, but I think time goes by quite quickly because it definitely keeps you really engaged and you want to know what happens next. For me, because I knew nothing about this, that worked in my favour. Because I was gripped, I was hooked, I did want to know what would happen next. I had no idea the outcome of this case. I refused to Google it while I was watching it. If you're in the same position as me with knowledge, or I guess lack thereof, I strongly suggest you avoid any information about this before you watch it. Personally, I found that the most exciting way because it meant I hadn't got the slightest idea what was going on. But it's very easy to follow. It's easy to keep up with. The characters are, in my opinion, very well developed. But again, I don't know how much they relate to the actual characters or the actual individual people in real life. But Jeremy Thorpe, played by Hugh Grant, I really liked him. He's not a perfect person, but I really warmed to him very quickly. Norman Scott, Bunny, his former lover, played by Ben Whishaw. I love Ben Whishaw, so I hate to say this, but the character annoyed me in a good way. In a way that I found that the character was being not the nicest of people and being a bit manipulative and bribing. And maybe there were positive reasons for what he was doing, but sometimes I found the character displeasing. And I hate to hate a Ben Whishaw character, but his performance was phenomenal and an absolute joy to watch. Patricia Hodge plays Jeremy's mother, which I thought was an absolute delight. Jason Watkins is in this, Eve Myles. I won't go through all of the cast. It's just ridiculous. It's phenomenal. Something else that's done very well is the passing of time. We get title cards on screen that tell us when time has passed, or if we're doing a flashback, how many years ago we're going back. I think the stress that we see in Hugh Grant's eyes works very well as things get more and more intense. Just from start to finish, I was captivated by the quality of this. The narrative was very gripping. I didn't know where it was going. Visually, it is stunning. There may be some 70s period inaccuracies with decor or costumes, but for the most part, it felt like I'd gone back in time. The attitudes are very hard to listen to, with people going on about how they refused to be in Parliament with somebody who was gay and refused to sign a bill to let gay clubs exist. And it's hard to watch in that sense, but I really enjoyed it. If you've been thinking about watching it, I definitely recommend it. You don't need to know anything about this case. because, well, as I said, for me that actually worked in my favour. Maybe if I had known what was around the corner, I might not have found it as gripping, because there wouldn't be that so much of an element of surprise. But I didn't know anything about it, and I feel like I do now. I feel like I can talk with a tiny level of confidence about who Jeremy Thorpe was. I am potentially considering finding some kind of biography or, historical book based on Jeremy Thorpe and who he was and what happened after the fact, of course. I'm really interested to learn more about this. So it's definitely inspired that. But just on its own as a three-parter, really thoroughly enjoyed it. If you like this kind of thing, I definitely recommend it.